What's up, guys? I know it's been a while, but we got some news that's pretty important to the Saints that we got to cover today. I should have covered it yesterday, but I didn't have time. Uh, so everyone's been wondering what the Saints are going to do at quarterback. The coaching staff quit on Jameis Winston. No one wants to fucking watch Andy Dalton ever again. I know I don't. So the Saints, after being in the Derek Carr sweepstakes for quite a while when he was still up for trade, they ended up signing him in free agency for a 4-year, $150 million contract, which ends up being about $37.5 million a year. Now, a lot of people are super excited about this, and they think this can make the Saints contenders or close to it, and they can win the division, they'll make the playoffs, and everything will be fine. I can understand where you're coming from that point, except for the fact the Saints are contenders. They absolutely are fucking not contenders with Derek Carr. Some of the things I'm going to say in this video for you guys. This may not be the most popular opinion when it comes to the Saints and Derek Carr right now. And you know what? I don't give a shit, okay? I'm going to tell you guys how I see this, and I'm going to give you guys my honest thoughts about this. I am not thrilled about the signing of Derek Carr. Now, this could absolutely bite me in the ass. Everyone, he could prove me wrong. And I hope he does. I hope Derek Carr proves me wrong, and he shows that he's worth every single penny of that $37.5 million per year that he's paid over the course of the next 4 years. But here's my thing, okay? Am I one of those people that wanted the Saints to just absolutely tank, tear it down, tank for Caleb Williams? No, I don't want to watch, my team go 2-15 next year, because that would be terrible for me to have to fucking, I wouldn't be able to enjoy my Sundays at all, because I wouldn't even care about the result of my Saints game. But the direction that the team is going long term, I just don't understand it. It's like, because the Saints throughout 2017 up until 2020, Drew Brees' last few years, they did everything with the intention of winning the Super Bowl for Drew before he retired, right? Like, they went all in. They made moves like signing Jared Cook, signing Emmanuel Sanders. They extended Alvin Kamara. They made all these different types of moves. Signed Mario Davis. Brought back Malcolm Jenkins. Like, they made several efforts to get Drew Brees a Super Bowl caliber roster, and he had great rosters. It just, the Saints had very unfortunate luck in the playoffs for a few straight years. And once Drew retired, Sean Payton was still around. You know what? I thought it would be fine. I predicted the Saints to make the playoffs with Jameis his first year, because Michael Thomas was supposed to come back and everything was going to be fine. Obviously, we did not anticipate the Saints in 2021 being one of the most injured teams in NFL history. And you also saw that follow up in 2022 with Jameis Winston, Michael Thomas, several other players going down early in the year, and just there's no fucking shot to compete. But I don't think because 2021, the Saints did not make the playoffs because of injuries. That is what kept them from the playoffs. That team was an 11 or 12 win team, even though there was a lack of talent on that roster compared to years past. That team was a playoff team that should have made the playoffs if not for injuries. But 2022, yes, injuries kicked them in the ass almost as bad as 2021, but honestly, that was because of the coaching staff. Dennis Allen is shit. Pete Carmichael, when he was given the offense, is shit. I don't know if you guys can actually wrap your head around how dog shit Pete Carmichael is without Sean Payton. Now, I'm basing all this off last year, but that's the sample size we have, so I'm going to go ahead and go off of it. The amount of 2nd and 10 runs, like Pete Carmichael, his formula for offense is incomplete pass on first down or a run for like 2 or 3 yards. And then 2nd and 10, you think you pass it. No, you don't. You go run up the middle with Alvin Kamara, and you don't get any yards. Then it's 3rd and 10, you get sacked. 3 and out, punt. That's the Pete Carmichael offense. And we saw that with not Dennis Allen. We saw that with Pete Carmichael, with Andy Dalton at the helm so many times last year. Even when the Saints went on a little winning streak at the end of the year, you saw that every single game of the year. It happened every single fucking game, and it was almost unbearable to watch. And Pete Carmichael just he doesn't know how to use Alvin Kamara. Everyone says Alvin Kamara is washed. He doesn't know how to use Alvin Kamara anymore. Like, Sean Payton's gone, and Kamara's being used like he's Derrick Henry. He's not Derrick Henry. Do not run him up the middle 20 times. You have to get him outside. You got to get him in the passing game. Get creative. Design plays for Kamara. Get him some Texas routes. Get him some design pass plays. Like, Or get him down the field. I mean, shit. Don't just run up the middle with him every single game 20 plus times and only give him like 2 catches a game. Okay? So, and I don't think signing Derek Carr changes any of that. This offense could be good. Yes, if they're healthy, they could be good. They could be a top 10 unit with Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, if, depending on how long he gets suspended for. That's a topic for another day. Michael Thomas, if he comes back, that could also be a topic for another day. Chris Olave, Jawan Johnson, if he comes back. I mean, this could be a really good offense. But I don't think Derek Carr can keep Pete Carmichael from ruining the offense. And the coaching staff as a whole just is not good. So, therefore, when I see this team, I don't see them as a contender. Can they make the playoffs? Absolutely they can make the playoffs, especially with how bad the NFC South is. And their schedule is relatively weak. So, this team, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb right now and say this team's probably going to go like 10-7 and make the playoffs. They're going to win the division because the division is absolutely terrible unless one of the teams in the NFC South, probably the Panthers or the Falcons, just go absolutely crazy and crazy and make their team actually pretty good. But right now that's not the case. So I'm looking at it as the Saints very clearly should win the NFC South this season. And, I like the Saints trying to be competitive and all. That's great. From a fan standpoint, I can understand why you can respect them being so competitive. But I just don't see the direction this team can go long-term with Derek Carr. And am I saying I wanted to watch Andy Dalton again? No, I did not. I wanted to watch anyone but Andy Dalton. But I do think you could get there were other options out there you can get for much cheaper. Like, I was thinking Jimmy Garoppolo maybe. You could get him like on a $10 million, $15 million per year. Now you could say Jimmy Garoppolo sucks, and fine, whatever. But we're talking about just a bridge quarterback we can have for a few years before we get a high draft pick and end up drafting the future of the franchise or signing someone in free agency that's still young, It's not like Derek Carr is 23, 24 years old. Derek Carr is 32 years old. And by the end of the he's about to turn 32 years old. So by the end of his 4-year contract, he will be 36 years old. So that's not your long-term franchise quarterback. Could he be good for a couple of years? Yes. But I don't know, man. And let's not also forget the fact that Derek Carr had one of the best skill position groups last year with Josh Jacobs, the best running back in the NFL last year, and Davante Adams, who many still think is the best receiver in football. I think he's top 3 right now. I think Justin Jefferson is probably the best receiver in the NFL. But Davante Adams is very much in that conversation, and Derek Carr was mid. He was mid. And that offense, you could blame this on the Raiders coaching staff. You could blame this on the Raiders defense. But the Raiders last year blew, I think, 4 leads of 17-plus points. And how much of that falls on Derek Carr? I mean, come on. He's got to play a part of that. Like, I don't know. I'm not sold on Derek Carr. I'm not thrilled with the signing, to be honest with you guys. I'm not super thrilled about it. But since I love the Saints and I force myself to care about this team, I will give Derek Carr a chance, and I will obviously root for him as my quarterback. Derek Carr is my quarterback, but as many of you guys know, Jameis Winston was one of my favorite players to watch on the Saints. Many of you guys don't understand because you can say he was mid or whatever. He was always injured. I don't care. Okay, Jameis Winston is my dog, and wherever he goes, I wish him the best. I hope he goes somewhere where he starts and he's actually given an opportunity because I don't think the Saints, especially after he had 2 bad games with that fucked up back he had last year, they never gave him a real chance. And that just hurts my soul. I'm sure it hurts his soul. It's so fucked up. Like, Jameis Winston was done so wrong. Like, Sean Payton retiring and what was left of the coaching staff, they just never give him a proper chance. And it sucks for him, because that may have been his last chance. I don't know if he'll get to start somewhere next year because of, the uncertainty around him. That really sucks. But it is what it is. I wish Jameis Winston all the best. I hope his career is not done as a starter. But Derek Carr is my QB. I think the Saints are going to be pretty solid next year with Derek Carr, and this team could be really good. Like, on paper, this team could have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. But the thing that people are forgetting about is the coaching staff, and I am not sold on the coaching staff because I think the Saints last year, I predicted them to go 12-5 last year. I was really sold on them being a 12-5 team, a 12-5 roster, and they went 7-10. And let's not forget, 3 of those wins came in the last 4 games of the season. So heading into their Week 14 bye week, this team was 4-9, coming off a blown 16-3 lead to Tom Brady in 3 minutes. So I'm not sold on the coaching staff. I think the coaching staff is dog shit, and they're going to have to be torn down at some point. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to ride or die with the Saints. I am pretty excited to watch this team next year, but it just leaves me very uncertain about the overall big picture scheme of this team. Like, I'm talking about 3 to 5 years on the road. I don't see this team being like I'm thinking we might be just mid for a long time. And if we can, I don't know, man. I'm glad, it just makes the future so uncertain. Next year is going to be pretty good. I'm thinking 10-7 probably as of right now. But how long can you go 7-10, 9-8, 8-9, 10-7 before you go mentally insane? At what point do you finally tear it down and just, try to get some younger players, get your team younger? But that's it for it's not a rant, but that's just my perspective on what the Saints are doing right now. Let me know what you guys think. There's going to be a lot of people with me who disagree, and that's fine. Leave your voice in the comments. But I do think there should be a few people that may have changed their opinion on the Saints, or maybe how they look at this team long term. I hope I explained my opinion well, because I'm thinking big picture here. Now, I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited for next year. I'm going to root for the Saints like I always do. I love this team. But like I said, it just leaves me uncertain. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys, later down the road when we get more updates and free agency.